are you in the mood for?
Well, I left Magunga a few times and I was thinking about playing Magunga, right?
You want to play?
I'm learning, but I'm not like quite ready to
What's
play
that?
one.
You can play Magunga?
No.
Okay. Alright, so why don't you leave? My hand's already beat up from the hard
Sure.
So. Look at you slaving away in there. Bring your food.
Oh, yeah.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Pastrachite Deshikare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. His Divine Grace, ISKCON Founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Into Passionate Day, welcome. I am your host.
I
know, I'm like, we've got to run out the clock. No, I will not do that, but welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Srila Prabhupada really did say every day in ISKCON is a festival, and I think weeks like these, we know he was not being hyperbolic. Every day really is a festival. So I know that it's been a long yet ecstatic week, and we're very grateful that you're here joining us in person or online to continue hearing Srimad Bhagavatam.
Haribol.
I am very, very honored to introduce our speaker today, our very own Jaini Tai, His Grace Jaini Tai Prabhu. He is a second initiated disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami. He served with ISKCON for over 25 years. That's not a dig at your age, Prabhu. It's a sign of honor. After joining in 1998 from a professional background in software consultancy, he spent a decade as a brahmachari, leading outreach and temple management, and later serving as temple president of ISKCON London for 14 years. We are incredibly blessed that he is now based in New York with his wife, Bhakti, to lead our community care office, organize festivals, share Krishna consciousness through innumerable teaching engagements, and a lot of unseen seva that's going on all the time. While we are incredibly grateful to hear from him and have class from him, I think I speak for many of us when I say we learn so much from Jaini Tai Prabhu by the way that he carries himself and interacts with our community every single day. So please give 3 big Haribols for our special speaker today. Haribo!
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 Louder.
There isn't one.
There isn't.
There was one, I gave it away.
Sneaky. Thank you for remembering.
Yes, thank you for remembering, and that I felt garlanded by your
Yes.
thoughts.
Aww.
So Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please.
And I
just came to mind that, in one sense, yesterday, who was here yesterday? Anyone here? Program yesterday? Exactly. So 2 out of 4 ain't bad. Actually, there's 5 of us, so 3 out of 5 ain't bad. But it was also quite a low turnout yesterday for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, even for that festival. Of course, we see that the masses came on Monday for Diwali, because it's just sheer numbers of people who know about Diwali. And then for Govardhan Puja, it was like a little bit diminished, less, so 150, maybe less. Less is probably about 100. And then yesterday was maybe like 50. And we were discussing yesterday how Srila Prabhupada, which we can see here, can you see the screen in there? Perfect. Srila Prabhupada, it seems his appearance and his disappearance day both fall in such a way that he winds up taking like a humble position. Because his appearance day is the day after Janmashtami. So Srila Prabhupada appears the day after Janmashtami, which means that everyone's been up all night celebrating, and then you have to try to celebrate Srila Prabhupada's appearance the next day. And then his disappearance day comes after Diwali, then after Govardhan Puja, and then Jai Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is expertly taking the humble position like that. So, but it's nice to be here with all of you. I feel it's like, we could have just had prasad and talked and chilled out. So it doesn't have to be so formal. I do have a topic. I have some verses, and it is, whenever devotees get together, it's vitally important that they hear and discuss on the Bhagavatam, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I beg your indulgence that I'm sitting here, like as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said in one of his Vyas Puja lectures. He said, "You may be wondering why I'm sitting here on the big seat like some animal in the zoo." Like some buffoon, he's sitting here in front of all of you. So, we'll start with chanting the Mangal Arati prayers. So if you know these prayers, you can please join in. If not, we can meditate on the transcendental sound vibration. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataruyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi. So I have a couple of requests. Emily, could you pass that cushion there for me?
This one?
And Ari, could you just grab my tea bag for me?
Yes,
Yeah,
of
just
course.
throw it here.
I'm not a good
You're
thrower.
too much of a lady to.
I'm not a good thrower. I don't want to.
You know, some of these festivals haven't drunk enough for them to make you.
You want a bit of water?
Yes, please. 2-liter bottle. This would be fun.
You want a couple of these?
And it's also the thing, I noticed in New York, it's very interesting how they have this thing, right? The landlord has to keep a certain temperature in the property, so even you didn't know that?
No.
Dear Lord. So as soon as it starts to get a little cold outside, then immediately the heating comes on. I remember one devotee told me that they remembered growing up, literally in wintertime, it was snow on the ground and they'd be running around and like either inside without a shirt or, in the shorts and t-shirt and just sweat like anything, because often in many of these places, I remember when we were looking for apartments that, many of them, they just had this massive pipe that runs through the middle of the place, where they have radiators that it's either on or off. And so it's like, so anyway, so I think it takes a lot out of you. Okay, so, enough about all of that. So okay, you were getting more, that's enough. So book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. Who here is familiar with this concept, idea? Okay, a little bit, something? Okay. So we're going to read through a couple of verses which discuss on this topic, and hopefully we can just see how it's relevant to us or not. So these two verses that we're going to recite today are quite well known for many. A lot of times before someone gives Bhagavatam class, they recite it. So this is the first one. Anyone recognizes this? So I'll recite and you can repeat. Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva narottamam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Tato jayamudiraye.
Tato jayamudiraye.
Anyone would like to try? Okay.
Try reading it solo, you mean?
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva narottamam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Tato jayamudiraye.
Tato jayamudiraye. Haribol. Well done. Very nice. Anyone else would like to try? Now that one person is broken, yes.
I'll do it. Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva narottamam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Tato jayam udirayet.
Tato jayamudiraye.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Anyone else? Okay. Someone would like to read? Emily, would you like to read the translation for us?
Sure.
Could you give it a mic? Just for the folks that
Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vasadev, the author.
Okay. So I have this thing I really like when with devotees and reading something, to not just read over it and be like, okay, we're done, but to like look at it and see if anything in there stands out, or if I have any questions about it, or if something, because actually the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, these books, when we read them, it shouldn't be like reading a novel. We're actually interacting directly with Krishna, which is what the topic of today's talk is. So we're interacting directly with Krishna. And he is revealing himself as we're reading. but we have to really be desirous to see him. And we have to have inquisitive eyes. So when we read with inquisitive eyes, then we read with eyes that are fresh. One thing that Krishna is not is stagnant. He is dynamic. I mean, just look around the walls. Krishna is so dynamic and all the time. He's just, but we have a tendency, I don't know about all of you, but I do definitely, to become a little mechanical and a little robotic and a little bit ritualistic, where we just do what we do. Even we have good sadhana, but it sometimes just becomes a tick box exercise. Or we, as Prabhupada said, we just chant our rounds to get them done. So we're not, whereas Krishna, he's like exciting. He's like, oh, come on, wake up. Or we think we can do something. Like anyone's had this experience where you chant your rounds one day or you chant some rounds and they're like so good and you think, oh, I really want to chant like that again tomorrow. So the next day you do exactly everything the same and you sit down and it's just not the same. And why is that? We wonder, why is that? What did I do? Come on, Krishna, I'm really trying here. But Krishna's like, no, you can't capture me that easily. You can't create some mechanism by which you're going to capture me. So I always try to break out of the mechanical, like, let's just move forward. So for me, even if, because there's about 50 slides here, which we'll never get through all of them. But, and I didn't intend to, just I'll look through that number. But even the first 15 that are there more or less for this class, even if we don't move to another slide, if we absorb ourselves even in this verse of the Bhagavatam, and we will walk away feeling like, yeah, wow, that was amazing. So does anything stand out to anyone when you read this? Who's read this before? Who's heard this verse before? Okay. Anything stands out? Is there any question? Is like, why, what, who, how? Or is it like, yeah, that all makes sense. It's all great, whatever it is. Yes, all right.
I guess one thing that stood out to me
If
is
it's
that,
not on, the mic isn't on.
Oh, sorry.
You gotta get that little green light.
Conserving energy.
okay,
It's good.
you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
One thing that stood out to me that I don't really quite fully understand is Nara, Narayana, Rishi. I
Yes.
presume it's Narayana, but I wasn't quite sure on that.
Beautiful, and that's a great question. Anyone else felt like, yeah, kind of, it was kind of, but what is it? So yeah, so this is, okay, so let's, before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, right, so it means before we recite the Bhagavatam, we should do something. What is that? In general. Yeah.
Offer obeisance.
We should offer respect. And who are we going to offer respect to? Okay? So, but actually before that, it says that it describes the Bhagavatam as being the very means of conquest. I just think that's so rich. It's like such a profound and bold statement. The Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. So we're going to park that, the car park program, we're going to park it over here, and we're going to come back to that. But one should offer respectful obeisances unto who? The personality of Godhead. First, we should offer our respects to Krishna. We offer respects to Krishna. Narayan. So they're referring to, it's being referred to here as Narayan being the Supreme Lord, as opposed to Krishna, which also could be a question, right? But actually, in one sense, even though the essence, the summum bonum of the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but here there seems to be a mood of awe and reverence, of respect. And so Narayan is receiving the obeisances. And unto your question, Nara Narayan Rishi. Who knows who Nara Narayan Rishi is? Okay. So Nara Narayan Rishi are, as far as I can tell, and I have at different times done some research to try to figure out exactly, basically it's Krishna and Arjuna. Nara means man, human, and Narayan means God. So Nara and Narayan, they're like sages. They're two sages. Hare Krishna, George. They're like two sages, but they're kind of one person. So they're not always, see how it says unto Nar Narayan Rishi instead of Nar Narayan Rishis? It's an interesting thing because they're actually, in some pictures you'll find in the Bhagavatam, they're clearly two personalities. So it's almost as if they're kind of like Siamese twins. They're like two but one. And so they are actually Krishna and Arjuna, but in a rishi form. And they are the topmost of rishis. So often the rishis who are meditating in the Himalayas, and they will refer to these rishis, Narayan Rishi, because they're actually the embodiment of Narayan and Nara, of man and God in one kind of form, which is also the essence of Arjuna and Krishna being together on the chariot. You have God, and you have the jiva, and you have the dialogue and the interaction between the two. So Narayan Rishi, and there is a few different stories with Narayan Rishi in the 11th canto. They're discussed. They were also challenged by, I believe it was Indra sent Kamadev to try to tempt them, as often they do, to try to tempt them and make them succumb to material sense gratification, and they completely bewildered Kamadev, completely bewildered Cupid, so like that. So, unto Narayan Rishi, so the topmost, the supermost human being, and unto Mother Saraswati. And who is Saraswati? Who is Mother Saraswati?
She's the wife of Shiva, right?
No, but she is the wife of someone, but not Shiva. Anyone else? See, there's a lot in this verse, isn't there? So Saraswati is the wife of Lord Brahma. And Saraswati is the goddess of learning, it says there. So she's the wife of Brahma. And she's often depicted holding the book or playing the veena, like that. Goddess of learning. And unto Srila Vyasadeva, who is actually the author. So just before beginning to read the Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, which we're going to come back to, we are offering our obeisances to Lord Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author of this book. So it's just, this is the mood by which you enter into the Bhagavatam. It's not like you just pick it up and do it. Anyway, I know for years and years, and even still sometimes, I have this strong tendency that it's like, I grab this thing. Anyone has one of these? Yeah. And you just stick your hand in, grab the beads, and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And you just chant. But actually, it's nice if you take it all the time and you, right, Krishna, before I begin, I just want to approach you in the right way. And there are many, many different things. We could just say, my dear holy name, please allow me to hear and chant you with great care and attention. And then one thing I often do is I take my beads and try to touch them to my head before I start chanting. And that helps me to remember that these beads were chanted on by my spiritual master, and it's by his mercy that I've actually been given the opportunity to chant these holy names. And he's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and then I start to recognize the entire group Parampara, and then realize that the holy name is coming through all these persons, and I'm, so it invokes. But if we just stick it in, it's like, so anyway, so here we are, just trying to read the Bhagavatam. And I've taken up a good 20 minutes just on the first verse. Okay, so the next verse is the key verse that we're going to be discussing today. So we can repeat. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu.
Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu.
Nityam bhagavata sevaya.
Nityam bhagavata sevaya.
Bhagavatyutama shloke.
Bhagavatyutama shloke.
Bhaktir bhagavata Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
Anyone else would like to try? Okay, we'll keep going. Everyone's still shy. Who would like to read? Who's read already? You read? George, would you like to read? Can you see from there?
Yes, thank you.
Did you use the mic?
Regular attendance. Regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam.
Is it on?
I thought I just switched it on.
Is it green? The green light is there?
It is good.
Okay, yes, it is.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact.
There's a lot in there to really break down. Thank you, George. Anyone, anything stood out to them? Have you read this? Have you heard this? Yes. Sarah.
Yes. Yes, I love this verse. I always think about all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. There is so much that is troublesome to the heart. There is nothing but trouble. So, just to have such a simple formula, regular attendance in classes, the Bhagavatam. Okay, so you're hearing the Bhagavatam and you're serving the pure devotee, right? Which we can break down in a lot of different ways. From that, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. You can get a lot done with just that.
Beautiful, yeah. It's like, I'm glad you pulled that point out, because for me, that one is almost completely destroyed. And I'm like, what do you mean, almost? Why almost? Why not, just completely destroyed? But it's not completely destroyed, it is almost completely destroyed. Which different acharyas explain different things around that also. Which, basically, if everything that was troublesome within the heart was completely destroyed, we would have no need for the body anymore, and we would just give up the body. Because you would have achieved kind of perfection. So, some senior devotees and acharyas describe that almost completely destroyed means that you're left with just enough to deal with whatever you need to deal with in this life, but all the rest is cleared away. Just like the spiritual master at the time of initiation described that he takes on your karma. But if he took on everything, then you wouldn't need the body anymore. So there's something left so that you can still be an instrument. Because we're not here for us, we're actually here to become instruments for Krishna, instruments of the Lord's mercy. So we still need these bodies to do something. So almost completely destroyed, but yeah, it's a one-stop formula. I just need to regularly hear from the Bhagavatam, and that's amazing. Anyone else? Anything?
I think the mentioning of the rendering.
It's on.
The rendering our service to the pure devotees, because part of Krishna consciousness is service. If you're not doing seva, you're not practicing Krishna consciousness. And I think I learned that very quickly, and that's an important thing mentioned here.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, get your hands dirty. So yeah, we need to be rendering some service. Yeah, Prabhupada described Bhakti as Jai Shishimani Lord Chandra Bhagavan. Srila Prabhupada defined Bhakti as not just devotion, but as devotional service. And he says it is not, devotional, Bhakti is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action word. It's not, and Prabhupada didn't say this exactly, but in not so many others, he says that don't just tell me you love me, but show me. And actions speak louder than words. So we can say so many things, but when you do something for Krishna, when you're active serving Krishna, so beautiful, yeah. And by rendering of service to the pure devotee. Anything else, anyone? Yes.
I think it's the language. Thank you. I think the language is interesting, all that is troublesome to the heart. It feels like the point is being made that the heart is pure or the heart is untainted to begin with, and it's troublesome to the heart, like it's something that comes from the exterior, but we're people, so we definitely bring it from mental and psychological, but I guess in a way that's also exterior to the heart. And so it feels like the language there is very telling. The heart is its own intrinsic something, like it's just, it's pure on its own, and when we bring trouble, it's coming from elsewhere. And so that feels good to know. That feels good to, it resonates nicely to remind myself that my heart is intrinsically pure and whole in and of itself.
Very nice. Who resides in the heart? And us. We're both there. So that's a really, really beautiful point. And I really like this because as you were speaking, I was thinking it's so powerful because everyone has a perspective, everyone has their hearing, and we're not all hearing it in exactly the same way. And so it's so beautiful when you hear other devotees reflect back what they got out of that, because so often it can be like, wow, I never thought of it like that, and it just gives us deeper insight into the verse or the purport or whatever it is that we're reading. Okay, so we'll read some of the purport here. Actually, all of the purport. And yes, John, would you like to read?
Here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things within the hearts, which are considered to be obstacles in the path of self-realization. The remedy is the association of the Bhagavatas. There are two types of Bhagavatas, namely the book Bhagavata and the devotee Bhagavata. Both the Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them, or either of them, can be good enough to eliminate the obstacles.
So now we're introduced to the title, the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. So the remedy is the association of the Bhagavatas. So the remedy for inauspicious things in the heart, things that have become troublesome to the heart, is this powerful association. And I think this is an important word, association. We hear about association very often, how we become like that which we associate with, correct? And Prabhupada says if you associate with drunkards, then you'll become a drunkard kind of thing. Or I think in one place he gives the example that there's a saying that if you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. So like that. So in this way, what we associate with. And what we're trying to associate with is the Bhagavatas, of which there are two types, the book and the person, or the devotee. Okay, someone else would like to read? All right, it's back to you.
A devotee Bhagavata is as good as the book Bhagavata because the devotee Bhagavata leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavata. And the book Bhagavata is full of information about the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees, who are also Bhagavatas. Bhagavata book and person are identical.
It reminds me that the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, and it's like, it's kind of one of those, it's almost, it's so poetic in the way it's written, and it kind of muddles you up a little bit so that you realize, okay, they're basically identical. Anything stood out for anyone in this?
It feels like he's like knitting.
Oh,
The way that he, talks about the devotee Bhagavata and the book Bhagavata and how they're kind of
intrinsically connected.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. I like that knitting them together.
It also just makes me think of, there's so many things, I think, in our tradition that are, it's this thing, but it's also that thing, but it's also this thing. You know, we just had Govardhan Puja. Govardhan is, devotee, Dham, Krishna himself. We have a lot of things that actually represent, they're the same thing represented in different ways. Krishna's in his holy name, Krishna's in his book, Krishna's in your heart. You know, this is kind of like a theme that we have. So it's familiar in that way.
Very nice, yes. Hare Krishna, yes, very nice. Just then when you said that, it really reminded me of there's like 3 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita that describe Krishna's vibhutis, his opulences. And he says, of mountains, I am the Himalayas, I am the light of the sun and the moon, I am the taste of water, I am this, I am that. And the whole idea is Arjuna's request of how can I recognize you? How can I see you everywhere? And we can see that Krishna is actually everywhere. He's in everything. But are we really seeing him? And that's not limited to anything. Using, like Prabhupada often would use the example of the dictaphone. And once he said, the man who invented the dictaphone, he never imagined that we would be sitting here using it to translate Krishna conscious material. And Prabhupada was seeing that this was an instrument for the expansion of Krishna consciousness. So he was seeing it as Krishna's energy. Anyway, like that. So the book Bhagavad, full information. So we have the devotee Bhagavat is as good as the book because the devotee leads his life in terms of the book. So basically they become knitted together. They become like, thank you for that. You're keeping Ari awake. Do it a few times. Every 5 minutes, just kick that can. and the Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat, is full of information about Bhagavan. Right? So we see Bhagavat coming from Bhagavan. And about the person, and it's not only full of information about Krishna, Bhagavan, but it's full of information about the person Bhagavat. It's about his devotees, who are also Bhagavat. So Bhagavat book and Bhagavat person are identical. Next one. Who would you could read?
The devotee Bhagavat is a direct representative of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavat, one can receive the benefit of the book Bhagavat. Human reason fails to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavat or the book Bhagavat, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. But actually, these are facts explained by Srila Naradadeva, who happened to be a maidservant's son in his previous life.
Okay, so Prabhupada is now going to open up this story a little bit. But anything from this stood out to anyone? So, please go ahead.
I have a question from the previous slide. I always think about this when I come across a term like pure devotee. So, what is a pure devotee? And is a pure devotee someone who really, really tries, with flaws included? Is a pure devotee somebody who has very few flaws in how he executes his devotion? Is it the effort, not the outcome? Is it both? Is it progress, not perfection? Is it both? Like Jenna was saying, we have a lot of both things going on in our tradition. So, sorry to bring it back here, but it always stands out for me. Who is this person who is a pure devotee? And of course, how do we get there? But you see so much effort. We see so much effort. And so, how much does that count? Sorry, I'm going on and on here.
No, that was great, I love that. Everyone got that? Anyone else who's like, yeah, that's a great question, everyone, thank you for asking. So, I'm gonna try to answer the way that Prabhupada answered. His disciples, once they said, Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there? Right? A good question. Of course, you know, whatever their purpose was for asking it, but Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there? Do you want to hear what Srila Prabhupada said? You don't?
No, I do.
Srila Prabhupada said, a mango is a mango. How's that sitting with you?
That was the whole answer?
He gave us some more, he gave a purple. But that's an important one. He said a mango is a mango. And they said, Jai Prabhupada, what does that mean? So Prabhupada said, whether a mango is green or whether a mango is ripe, a mango is still a mango. So he said there is a pure devotee in practice and there is a pure devotee in perfection. And they're both pure devotees. And as long as the pure devotee in practice stays on the path of pure devotion, then eventually he will become a pure devotee in perfection. Just like a green mango, as long as it stays connected to the tree, it will eventually become a ripened mango. And so, he said, his first answer, I apologize, he didn't say a mango is a mango. His first answer was, how many disciples do I have? And they said, Prabhupada, we are not pure devotees. And then he said, a mango is a mango. So the point being that, which relates to this verse, that a devotee Bhagavat is a direct representative of Bhagavan. So then that means all of you are direct representatives of Krishna. Yes or no? And that's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, it's true, but I don't feel like that. And should I shake my head? Yes, because if I do, then I'm not being humble. And if I be humble, then I might not be being honest. So what am I supposed to do here? And then we just go, So, but the essence of the fact is true. That a devotee, Bhagavat, someone who's trying, and this goes back to your kind of follow-on questions, a devotee who is trying to lead life on the path of pure devotion. The perfection, if you read closely into Srila Prabhupada's purpose, very often he says we simply have to try. We don't necessarily, we may never achieve, yesterday if you took any time to watch Prabhupada videos or look at Prabhupada yesterday, I was watching the video and somehow the videos that I downloaded, they were like 4K, so they were quite enhanced, and it was really a clear picture of Prabhupada, and I was really looking at Prabhupada and looking at his facial expressions, and I was just thinking, part of me, like from a judgmental perspective, was kind of like, Prabhupada, like, he's like missing a tooth in the front, and it's kind of like, they're like apparent imperfections, which Nectar of Instruction addresses how we should judge these aspects of a pure devotee. We may see apparent imperfections, but they're like, it's described, they're like spots on the moon. The moon is giving so much sunlight, and all you want to do is talk about the one spot, or the white sheet that has a tiny black spot on it, and we hone in on that. So, in this way, the point is to try. Even if we achieve perfection, everyone might not look at us as if we're perfect, but the perfection is the intent and the consciousness with which we try to do things. I'm really trying my best to serve you, Krishna. And Prabhupada addresses this in one letter to his disciple Acharya Rishi, where he says, he says that to think that there is utopia in this material world, that is impersonalism. Because we're all persons, and we're all going to have our little frailties and misgivings and differences of perspective and opinion. That is the essence of personalism. We're all persons, so we all have our own little unique likes and dislikes. He said, even in the spiritual world, there is no utopia, which at first sound may be a little bit like, oh no, I thought everything was perfect there. And everything is perfect, but it's not perfect in the way that I think it's perfect for me. It's perfect in the way that it's perfect for Krishna and for increasing loving relations and rasa with Krishna. So Prabhupada then goes on to describe that even in the spiritual world, says that the gopis, they become so excited to see Krishna that they try to put their saris on and they put them on in the wrong way. Or they try to put kumkum on their heads and they wind up putting it in the wrong place. Or he said even once, Krishna was so excited to see Srimati Radharani that he milked the bull and tried to milk the bull instead of the cow. And Prabhupada said these are all examples of the kind of apparent imperfections, but they're not imperfections. They're signs of love and an increase, and they're personal, very personal. So to answer your question, the pure devotee, you're a pure devotee. Exactly, and the way you felt there is like, that's how it goes. Because it's not that we should walk around thinking we are, but we're trying. We're trying to be on that path. And we're filled with frailties, we're filled with imperfections, and we're filled with longings and desires, and our heart is, fraught with so many things that are coming in from the outside, even though it's in an originally pure place, and we're trying to get back to that pure place. So in that sense, our intention is pure. But there's always striving for improvement and for correction, learning from mistakes, making mistakes. Bhagavad Gita explains that every endeavor is covered by some fault, which means that we are perpetually making mistakes. But the idea is that we're trying to learn and grow from them and amend whatever it was mistake we made and forward progress. Does that make a little bit of sense? Anything else coming up? No? Okay. Welcome back to Sri Radharani. Nice to have you with us. So happy you're here. And also Parvati Mahaprabhu. It's nice to see you. Thank you. Next one. Someone would like to read? Shira, would you like to read? No, you just came in.
I haven't got my glasses up, I'll just
Okay, no problem.
The more progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of the Bhagavatas, the more one becomes fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The messages of the book Bhagavata therefore have to be received from the devotee Bhagavata, and the combination of these two Bhagavatas will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on.
Beautiful. I think I skipped. I skipped one. Someone would like to read this one? This was the one before, actually. Because at the end of the previous one, I started to speak about Narada Muni. Harmony Mahaprabhu, you haven't read yet. We've been waiting for you.
Good running.
The maidservant was engaged in the myriad service of the sages, and thus he also came into contact with them. And simply by associating with them and accepting the remnants of foodstuff left by the sages, the son of the maidservant got a chance to become the great devotee and personality Shira Naradev. These are the miraculous effects of the association of Bhagavatas. And to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere association of the Bhagavatas, one is sure to receive the transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
Amazing. Any thoughts? So what we're doing is we're reading a little bit, and then we're asking if anyone has any reflections or anything that stands out. I love this because I love the pastime of Narada Muni and how he becomes a pure devotee. And it's interesting, Prabhupada, it's always referred to, he's the son of a maidservant. You know, it means he's just the son of a maidservant. Oh, maidservant. A maidservant's son has like no position, no place. It's like almost like the lowest that you can go. It's like you're just the son of a maidservant. But because that maidservant got the opportunity to serve the Bhagavatas, you know, these pure devotees, he came in contact with them. Just happened to come in contact with these personalities.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect. You know why? Because I asked you to keep making noise, to keep Ari awake, and it's working. Every time you do that, Ari jumps right out of his skin. and he's like, God, Johnny time. So it's good. So put a few more bottles around your face. Look, he's offering you one, except his won't make as much noise. Yeah, so she just by chance got the opportunity, and then, but he developed some, he liked being with them. He liked hearing. You know, it always reminds me of how Srila Prabhupada, when he was with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarked, he likes to hear. He likes to hear. He doesn't go away. He likes to hear. And it was a similar thing also, if I recall correctly, that Srila Prabhupada was with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Vrindavan, and everyone was going for parikram, but he just wanted to sit in the room and hear from Bhaktisiddhanta. And the devotees were like, no, you should go out on parikram. And he's like, but I love to hear from, you know, if he's going to keep speaking, I just want to hear from him. So he had that taste. So Narada Muni developed the taste, but what is it that was, it hones in on, what was it that he did? What did he do that somehow was the conversion factor? What did Narada Muni do?
The remnants.
Yeah, he took the remnants. He took the remnants. Now, of course, that can be understood in different ways, but the essence of what he did was, or the actual fact is that he took the remnants of what they were eating. He asked them, he heard, that's the way you make progress, by eating the remnants of the Mahabhagavats. And so he asked them, and they were like, we don't usually do this, but because you have taste for hearing, and you so humbly requested, then here are some of the remnants. And by eating the remnants of these devotees, he basically became Narada Muni. He developed such a taste that he, after his mother, and of course, then there's the whole thing, so much devastation happened in his life, but he just kept focused, which is an important point to what you were saying, Emily, that even after that, his mother passed, he was still a young boy, he was left searching after Krishna, so many things. But he took the remnants of the pure devotees. There are three things, the three described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't remember the Bengali, but there are three items that are essential for making progress. Anyone remembers what they are? One of them is the remnants of foodstuffs. The other is the water that does what? Wash the lotus feet of the devotees. And the third one is? The dust, yes. It's Bhakta Pada Jal, Bhakta Pada something, Bhakta Pada, like that. So the remnants, the water that's washed the feet, and the dust of the lotus feet. So there was such a time when in the Brahmachari ashram in London, we all were very much aware of these things. And it became quite a hectic situation, because you'd be sitting down to eat prasadam and he would be stealing your plate literally right out from under you. Or literally devotees were attacked, and their socks taken off, and there were times where water was poured through the socks and devotees were drinking the water. It became quite a frantic thing, which it went past the point of being fun and devotional. It almost seemed to become violent. So we asked senior devotee, well, what does this mean? And his thing was, you don't have to do all of these things. Taking the remnants, taking the dust, taking the water can also be done with the consciousness. And then after that, the idea was as devotees sometimes would walk around the Tulsi in the morning, you're chanting japa, and you could be meditating when you see their feet and just taking the dust and putting it on your head, or washing their feet and putting it on. But the point is that we're developing and cultivating a respect, a mood of respect for these personalities, so much so that we know only by the dust of their lotus feet, only by the water that has washed their lotus feet, only by the remnants of the sun. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he prays that in my next life, as if Bhaktivinoda Thakur would have a next birth, in my next birth, please let me take birth as a bug. He says, let me take birth as a bug, if I have to, recognizing that in his humility that I'm just like a bug. But let me take birth as a bug where? In the house of devotees, so that I can at least get the remnants of their food. She's like, that sounds good. Okay. So, in one sense, we shouldn't really want to do it, but that's his level of consciousness, is that he's prepared to take that birth, but just let me be around the devotees, whatever. So this is the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. And then, of course, the more that progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of these persons, the more one becomes fixed in transcendental loving service to the Lord. The messages of the book Bhagavat, therefore, have to be received from the devotee Bhagavat, and the combination of these two Bhagavats will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. So this, in one sense, answers your question perfectly, that we just have to keep trying. We have to keep putting ourselves in the right place, hearing from Bhagavatam. Daily recitation is a really important point. We should try somehow. When I first got introduced to Krishna consciousness, my very dear friend, he was reading, he was working full time, and he would come home and he said, I will read at least one page every day. And he had kind of been around for a year, and he was already in the third canto or something, just by reading one page. He said, if I have time, I'll read more, but I read at least just one page each day. And I know it's been revolutionary with Vaisheshika Prabhu's introduction of Be a Sage page by page, that we've had different groups, and at the moment we have a group that we started during lockdown, just reading, we started with 2 pages a day of a book, and then we share some reflections on WhatsApp, but then we moved up to 4 pages. And in all the years I've been in ISKCON, I never read so many of Prabhupada's books just by, literally, I can show you, we created this kind of chart, a bookshelf with books on it. And every year it's 10, 15 books just reading through. And then I started reading audiobooks, and at the moment reading through Brihad Bhagavatamrita, just 4 pages a day. We're already halfway through the 2nd volume. Just little drops wear away the stone. But every day you're taking the vitamins. Every day you're getting the nourishment. Every day you're feeding the good dog. Every day we're associating with the book Bhagavat. And Srila Prabhupada's purports mean we're also associating with the person Bhagavat. And he's instructed us to read his books. So that means we're also performing service to the person Bhagavat. So, and we're connecting directly with Srila Prabhupada. He's there as well as Krishna in the Bhagavatam, in the book Bhagavat. So there's there's still another 40 slides, but we're gonna stop here and ask if there's any closing reflections. Anyway, the bottom line, finishing, is that we have to associate with devotees, and those devotees that we associate with have to be associating with the Bhagavatam. And we ourselves have to also become good association for others, so we have to also read the Bhagavatam. So we'll finish here. Book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat. Hare Krishna. Shiva Prabhupada ki jai.
His Grace Johnny Sai Prabhu ki. We will now have Arti, so if you could please help us just moving the cushions and the chairs, and then we'll be back with some announcements after. And I think we're also going to have Damodar Ashtika. Will we offer lamps? Yes, we will. We'll offer lamps for their lordships. Thank you so much.
So if anyone would like to, anyone wants to sing, let me know if you'd like to sing, and we just need to set up perfect.
Namo
We can read the translation.
To the Supreme Controller who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Goku, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances.
Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his 2 lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and as Mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances.
Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan in Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure, loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart.
O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks and curling hair, have become reddened like bimber fruits due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind.
O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I'm drowning in an ocean of sorrow and I'm almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me, uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision.
O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I'm drowning in an ocean of sorrow and I'm almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me, uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision.
O Lord Damodara, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kubera, Manigriva, and Nalakuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence.
O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastimes. Jai Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Damodarastakam ki jai. Sing the Srimati prayers. Anyone would like to sing? Yeah?
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Radha Radha Radhayi Radha Radha Radhayi Hiranyakashi Purvaka Hiranyakashi Purvaka Shila Sankana Kalaye Shila Sankana Kalaye Ito Nisimho Bharato Nisimho Ito Nisimho Bharato Nisimho Yato Yato Yami Tato Nisimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Nisimha Bahir Nisimho Nisaye Nisimha Bahir Nisimho Nisaye Nisimha Nisimham Adim Sharanam Prabhade Nisimham Adim Sharanam Prabhade Avakara Kamalavade Nakamatika Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Thanuprekam Vishwavadita Narahari Rupa Jagagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Navakara Kamalare Nakamadutta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Thanuprekam Vishwavadita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nisimha 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 Jaya Kalanara Jaya Kalanara Jaya Kalanara Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gita Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gita Gora Hari Bol Gita Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gita Gora Hari Bol Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki all glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our Sunday program. Thank you for our kirtaniyas. Thank you for our speaker, again, His Grace, Jaini Tai Prabhu. I will be late on announcements because it's time for prasadam, and I don't like to be known as the person that stands in the way of going to prasadam. That's not a good way to make friends. So I wanted to share that our next festival is on Wednesday, November 5th. It will start at 6 p.m. This is the Festival of 1,000 Lights. This is the end to Kartik month that we've been celebrating together. So please put that on your calendars.
What time?
6 p.m. It will start at 6 p.m. And then I also want to note on Saturday, November 15th, we will have our Community Seva Day. We will be cleaning the Bhakti Center. It will be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. followed by Prashadam. So we'd love to see you there. Final announcement is that Bhakti Center, these are all community-run, community-driven projects and festivals. If you are inspired to donate, there will be a basket up front for the Festival of 1,000 Lights. There's a link. You can volunteer your time. If you're inspired, or if not, there's an opportunity to donate to support that festival. And as always, we have our Sponsor Day program, which is an opportunity to actually sponsor the flowers, the boga, and everything that goes into taking care of our deities. So thank you so much for being here. We will see you soon. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Janaki.
Jai.